Yeah, I'm live. Can anyone hear me? Something has to work. Hello. I don't know if my sound is working. If there's anyone out there who could say something in the chat and let me know if the sound is working, that would be awesome. That would be really cool. Ah, let there be light. Wow. Okay. Hello and welcome to Words Have Power Murder Hour. Hopefully yay. Okay, yay. The audio is working. I like hearing that. Um, This is my first time doing this live. We have had technical difficulties galore, so I'm recording the video this way. This is weird. Okay, I've never done this before, like on here, so okay. I've tried to make this video 3 or 4 times, and each time either the sound is messed up or it disappears or it processes for like 2 days. So here it is. Okay, so you realize you have a stalker. What do you do? As soon as you realize that you have someone stalking you, you need to gather all the data you can. Document, document, document. You want to document everything. Gather up all that documentation. If you can get CCTV footage, security cam footage, anything like that, recordings, that's really helpful too. It's always a good idea to look at your jurisdiction and what the laws are in your particular jurisdiction. So far as stalking, harassment, whatever. Also, you want to try to keep calm and understand that people are only really going to take you seriously if you can present them with as much information as possible about what's happening. And it has to be tangible. It has to be evidence that you can bring into a court. So you want to gather up all the documentation you can, organize it in a way that makes it easy to grasp, and then when you present it to law enforcement, I highly recommend, first off, tell everyone around you that you're being stalked. Friends, family, everyone you trust, your work, coworkers, everybody. And if you have people that you trust, people that you know can stay calm in stressful situations, those are the people that you're going to want to see if they can come with you to present your case to law enforcement. I would also suggest seeing if you can get if you can call your local victims advocacy group, um, tell them, advise them of what's going on, and see if they have resources that can help you. Um, they may know detectives and police officers who will help you. Um, Stalking is more than just, random crazy person or, uh, you know, tons and tons of emails and correspondence in various different ways. It's also, it can be also a domestic violence situation you're trying to get out of. It can be a coworker who is constantly harassing you. Um, so there are different aspects to stalking. So I'm going to do different various videos covering the different kinds of stalkers and how you deal with them. And, you know, for example, if it's a domestic violence situation, um, then that's kind of a different thing. And I'm going to try to cover that. But regardless, doesn't matter what kind of stalker you have, the first thing you want to do is document everything you can, as much as you can, and organize that in a precise, concise, coherent way. That's really important. And of course, somebody's walking by yelling. Welcome to New Orleans. Happy holidays. Alrighty. Okay. So one of the main things you want to do when you're dealing with a stalker is see if there's a support group that you can go to, or if your local victims advocacy group has, resources for therapy. Um, get to a therapist. See if you start seeing a trauma therapist in particular. Trauma therapists are amazing. They're awesome. Hey, I have two people on here. Hi. You can say hi back. This is my first time doing this. Um, so yeah, it is a really good idea to get into therapy for that. Let me see. Participants. Wait. I don't know how any of these settings work. Any of this. Anyway, yeah. Therapy helps tremendously. For most of my career working, putting together stalker cases, um, that was part of what I requested as my payment, that the person would go to therapy. And we actually, on our team, we had a therapist who would work with us. Thankfully, that was loved her. That was amazing. Because what you're dealing with is trauma. It's a trauma. It is a huge trauma for just about every victim that I have worked for. It's like they lose their control over their own lives in so many different ways. So the whole point is to get that control back, get that free will and freedom of movement and life back. So besides just documenting everything that you can, also there's another rule, and it is a golden rule. It is a thing that you must not ever do. Once you tell that stalker to leave you alone and try to do that in writing, where you can document that, after that, don't ever speak to them again at all. Don't speak to them. Don't say hi, bye, or F you. Don't say anything. Also, don't ever try to negotiate with a stalker. It's just never a good idea. It's never going to go the way you want it to. If a stalker tells you, I will leave you alone if you give me, you know, a certain amount of news once a week, well, that's going to turn into twice a week. It's going to turn into every day of the week. If they can take an inch in a demand from you, then they'll take like every inch that they can. So never ever negotiate, ever. Never try to get them to stop by giving them something. It's not going to work. Um, so yeah, of course. Um, okay, I had some. So I've made this video like 3 or 4 times. So I'm trying to remember everything that I covered in the other videos. It's getting to the point where it's silly. Okay, so um, there's one podcast that's really good called Simply Stalking. Wait, hold on. Strictly Stalking. That's a really good podcast. It is where people like survivors and people who are currently being stalked share their stories, and that's really good for people to realize that they're not alone. You're like if you're being stalked right now, you're not alone. There are just millions of people out there who have either dealt with being stalked or are being stalked right now. You are not alone, right? That's a big thing to remember. You're not alone, and you're not crazy. Um, so strictly stalking is really good. Stalked is another good one, and that is. Let's see if I can do this as good as I did the last time I read this out. Um, Rebecca Hetherington. I always butcher her name. Always. Um, let's see. She is a psychology and criminology PhD researcher specializing in stalking. Each week, she covers a different case of stalking while offering insight into the psychology behind it, what types of stalkers there are, and what motivates them. She also recommends movies and TV shows that give the best portrayals of stalkers and their personality disorders. And of course, my cat is here to say hi. Okay. She's a ham. Apparently, she wants to be on the camera right now. Hi. So, yeah, that podcast is really, really good. Um, and then there is also, hold on, Real Crime Profile. That's another good one. They do talk about stalking, but they don't focus on stalking. But that's one of my favorite podcasts. All right, you look, look. You hate paper. Here's some paper. Psh, psh. Okay, so Real Crime Profile is Jim Clemente and Laura Richards. Jim Clemente is a former FBI profiler. Laura Richards is a criminal behavioral analyst, former New Scotland Yard. And then Lisa Zambetti is on there too. She was a casting director for CBS Criminal Minds. And they talk about different cases and TV shows and whatnot. And it's really good, actually. That's one of my other favorite podcasts. All right, y'all. Say hi. Say hi. I see there are people on here. Let me know who is here. That this is working. That would be nice to know, considering how many videos I've tried to make of this. boy. Okay, so okay, I got that. Um, okay, I'm gonna assume that I know who Theater Vamp is, but I don't want to say your name, like right there. Hi. Okay. Anyway, I think I'm covering just about everything I covered in the other videos. So at some point, I'm gonna have like once I have all the stuff that I usually use to build a case against a stalker, I will do another video where the sound is good. Um, are you gonna say hi? Right. So if you have a stalker, just keep in mind that it is stressful and scary. Okay, thank you. That's good to know. It is stressful and scary, but you'll be okay. Just make sure to document everything that you can. Don't delete or throw anything away. You want to grab everything that you can and organize it to where is understandable what is going on. That is your biggest weapon against your stalker. If you can get audio and video and like recordings and witnesses to the behavior, also, um, that's also a really good thing. Um, mm, Most people are not going to be able to afford to pay for like a private investigator and, you know, a team of people to help them uh, through a situation like this. So a lot of victims have to do it themselves. And I'm starting to realize from listening to Strictly Stalking how many people really have no idea how to do this. Um, and a lot of the time, we would take these cases pro bono because people would call asking for help, you know, and there was no way they could afford to pay thousands of dollars a week to have us working for them. It was just, that's not doable for most people. And there's another thing to consider if you have a stalker, being the victim of a stalker can happen to anyone. You can be a bank teller, a waitress, a nurse. I've seen people from all walks of life end up dealing with a stalker. Um, it doesn't say anything about you at all. It says everything about a stalker. And a lot of stalking victims take it very personally when they're being stalked. Um, don't take it personally. Try not to let your emotions rule the situation. You want to be very calm, very rational, or try to be, which is hard. Um, and understand that you have to be able to present your case to law enforcement and to prosecutors and a judge and all of that in a way that will get them to listen to you. That's the goal, to get people to listen to you and understand what you're saying and what it means, and that you have a stalker. Um, Also understand that yes, and what I'm gonna say is gonna suck. It's gonna suck, but it's true. Um, you can be dealing with your stalker and building your case against your stalker for years, and that sucks. And I'm sorry, but that is the truth. Many victims of stalkers, it isn't just a week or a month or a year. It can be a long time. So prepare yourself for that. Make sure to get into therapy. Have your support network around you, your friends, family, everyone that you can trust and get to help you. That right there will help you tremendously to get through it and, not be, traumatized to the point that you can't function. I think I've covered everything. I'm not going to make this particular video again because I have now made this video 3 or 4 times. uh, Hopefully this time it will actually like save and stuff. Okay. Q&A? Oh, okay. Right, people do that. There are 3 people in here. Hi. You don't want to ask a question? Make a suggestion. Say something random. Yep, you do. I don't know what that's in relation to. Flirkin random. That is an interesting word, flirkin. How did you get into being a sheriff? Um, oy. I saw an ad in a newspaper, and then maybe like a week later, a friend of mine, um, there were 2 police officers who were working in the French Quarter who were up to no good, and they later, a couple of years later, ended up in the news, and they ended up in prison. But they basically uh, they kind of jumped him, and they didn't beat him up as bad as they could have. Like a bunch of people interceded, and I grabbed him and took him to my house. And then when I saw that ad in the newspaper, I was like, huh, maybe we need more good people to jump in to this line of work, and do the right thing. So that's how I got into the sheriff's office. What do you do when a friend has been stalked and has allowed themselves to be manipulated into an abusive relationship with their stalker abuser? Um, so was the person stalked and then got into the relationship? I mean, that's okay. That's why I say don't ever, 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 never, ever, ever, ever negotiate or try to negotiate with a stalker. To a stalker, let's say hypothetically, and this has actually happened, I'm talking about an actual case here, but I can't go into too many specifics. But okay, so the stalker demanded that the victim meet with them for coffee once a month. By the time the victim got to us, she was going for coffee once a week. That's what it built up to. So if you open that door ever so slightly and they get their toe into the door, well, then they're like, well, I might as well just put my whole leg in there. Well, I might just walk in the damn room and just take over the whole building. Okay, she went on dates a few times with him, hoping to push him away, and then boom, they were together. I see. Um, you're describing another person's situation, and I don't have all of the information in front of me, so it's kind of hard for me to assess if that person really was a stalker, um, or if they were just kind of pursuing a relationship. There is a difference. But if you're not into someone Don't go on a date with them. Period, point blank. You don't owe anyone a date. You don't owe anyone anything. So if you got a guy who's not taking no for an answer, he's showing you who he is right then and there. Bam. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. So he was love bombed her, showed up at her job, etc. Okay, but what right? I hear what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that there's kind of a standard of behavior that goes along with stalking. A lot of people will say that they're being stalked because someone checked out their Facebook a couple of times. I think that we need to stop using the word stalking frivolously. If he just randomly is showing up at her job, there's a difference between domestic violence and the early beginnings of a domestically violent relationship and stalking. So stalking is a very nuanced thing. A stalker can be like somebody who is hunting after a celebrity that the Archangel Michael or Gabriel is telling them that they're supposed to be married, and this celebrity doesn't even know that person exists. Okay, but there are different kinds of stalkers. So what you're describing is somebody who it was more of a domestic violence thing from the very beginning. Now, if he was sending her 100 emails and text messages a day and that's what I mean by I don't know what level she was dealing with, right? Really, domestic violence isn't really in some ways all that different from stalking because there is a lot of stalking involved in a lot of domestic violence situations. And that's why in making these videos, I've been trying to say, listen to your gut instincts, listen to your intuition, listen to those red flags that you see. Like, for example, if he, let me read that again. If he pushed her to go on dates with him when she didn't really want to, and he knew that, but he pushed it anyway, well, that should be beyond a neon flag. That should be like an airplane has crashed. Like, that's a huge warning. Huge warning. Anyone who feels that they are entitled to go ahead and try to push a relationship onto someone else, that's very toxic. I mean, before anything is actually started, it's already toxic, right? I think that a lot of women, especially, must learn the art of saying no. And no, just no. I also like the term, I'm going to borrow it from My Favorite Murder, fuck politeness. I love that term because it's true. I really think that women need to stop being polite when it comes to men demanding our phone numbers. I don't even fucking know you. I don't know your name. I don't know who you are. You just walk up to me and demand my phone number when I'm shopping for milk at the local corner store. What makes you so special? Just the other day, I was at the corner store grabbing milk for baby girl, and some guy tries to demand that I go out with him. After I'm like, by the way, I'm married. Leave me alone. It's men need to learn to take no for an answer. And when a woman says no, just shut the fuck up and listen and accept that you have been told no. So this woman who apparently didn't want to go on these dates did anyway. If he didn't take her no seriously to begin with, why is he ever going to take her no seriously? Why is he ever going to actually listen to anything that she has to say? That's abuse. That is an abusive relationship, period. With stalking, much of the time there isn't even a question. The stalker just doesn't even consider asking the victim really anything other than you're going to be with me or you're going to do whatever it is that I want. So um, stalkers are they're leeches. It's like they're vampires, like they're actual literal vampires, and they just suck your willpower, your free will, your self-respect, just everything. Like they try to destroy everything about you, around you, relationships, your career. People have lost businesses. Everything has moved. I had one victim who moved across the world to get away from her stalker, and it didn't work. And now with cyber stalking, it's worse. It's way worse. So, like this KJ woman who is, wow. Um, I don't even know what to think about that one. Like, that woman will target any woman who is beautiful and successful, either at her level of success or more. She'll target children. And apparently, she hates men also, so she'll target men. She'll target friend groups. She'll target Facebook group pages and Reddit pages and anyone who, you know, criticizes the way she behaves, and things that she does. She sees nothing wrong with doxing people. Um, doesn't even care if she releases the medical records of a child. Just it seems like in her mind she can do whatever she wants, and whatever pain she inflicts on other people, it doesn't matter. Um, Going so far as to dig into people's family birth and death records and just like things that she says it's because she's an investigative journalist, but she's not. She doesn't have those credentials. But really, she uses that investigative journalism thing as a mask. It's a mask. And even like covering tea and drama on YouTube and other platforms, that's also just a mask for her to be able to target people because she very much thrives on causing harm to people. It's I'm not even sure what form of stalker she would be considered. Um, I've actually been reading up on it just to try to figure it out, but it's like a combination of things. It's disturbing. It's like this weird. I'm trying not to cuss, but here we go. It's a weird shitstorm of holy fuck, is what it is. Yes, they do give vamps a bad name. Um, that's why I like to say leeches instead of vampires, really, because But so yeah, true. Yeah, paparazzi. There was man, there was one case I worked where we were flown out to. I can't say the location. We were flown out to another state, and this one paparazzi guy had targeted a celebrity, and he was not actually a paparazzi. He had the camera and he followed people around, took the pictures and sold them, but he was not actually paparazzi. He was a stalker. He was straight up stalker. And the other paparazzi hated this guy because it was like he was doing things to set up situations that were compromising for that celebrity. Like he loved that celebrity, but he also hated that celebrity. It's really weird. Um, but yeah, that was one of the weirdest cases I've ever worked on, and actually really disturbing, like dangerous. Um, but yeah, if you are dealing with a stalker, our my email's in the bio. You can email, and if you have any questions, I'm gonna make more videos with how to build your case. The way I do it is not the only way to do it. It's just the way I do it, and it's easy. At first, for victims, it's very um, irritating, and it's like having a second job, a second full-time job, really. But many of the victims that I've worked for have felt um, like it was also very cathartic. It was very kind of therapeutic, and they could see that no, they were not being overly sensitive. They were not, uh, crazy. They weren't. It wasn't just all in their head. When they could see all of the material they were gathering, then it gave them a sense of validation, and that yes, this is really a thing. Um, so yeah, um, and after a while of writing in your incident log and doing everything you need to do, it just becomes second nature. It stops bothering you, and you slowly take back your control of the situation. You may not know what's going to happen next, but you have a means of giving yourself a sense of security in that you have something physical you can hold and you can show people this is the lunacy that I'm dealing with right now. And that goes a long way to validating you to other people, which of course is going to make you feel better. So, so document, document, document. Do not delete anything. Save everything. Um, Therapy, trauma therapist, a trauma therapist is best. The first therapist you go to may not be the best one for you. You may have to go to two or three different therapists. Support group is a really good idea. Support network, friends and family. You basically, if you're realizing that you have a stalker, there are certain key things that you need to. It's like playing chess. Okay, you need to put your pieces on the board. So you need to pull together and do certain things, especially like with a. Well, I shouldn't really say that. It doesn't really matter if it's a stalker in real life who's coming to your house or your work or messing with your car, or if it's cyber stalking and cyber bullying. It doesn't really matter. It's all detrimental to your well-being. Um, so yeah, I will be making more videos. Hopefully, we can figure out what was going on wrong with the other thing. So, I technically, I think I've made 7 or 8 videos, but that just all kind of blew up on me. But um, okay, I think I'm gonna go now. I hope everyone's having a good holiday. I know is it Christmas today? Is today actually? Yes, it is. Okay, happy Yule. Um, any other questions, comments? I'm going to smoke a cigarette. Well, you were asking me how I got into the sheriff's department. I mean, for me, it was fairly easy. They had me do the personality test thing, which took forever. that just went on and on and on. And once I was done with that, they fast tracked me. So apparently I am sane or whatever. Um, so yeah, it was a pretty quick process really for the sheriff's department, but I think at that time they were really hurting for people, and also I don't know, it just I seemed to hit the right spot. So I don't know if this is. Does anyone have any questions? Kind of wish I could drink. Talking about the subject matter and dealing with videos, like you go through the process of making the video, you get all the points down that you want to say and da, 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 and then it disappears, or the sound is messed up, or it processes for 2 days. It just really frustrating. I have been frustrated for like the past week, pretty much livid, really. Because I mean, I've had people email me with questions. So, well, I mean, it has to change, you know? I should be able to go to the corner store for milk for my child without having like two or three dudes bugging me. Like, I'm like, when I have no makeup on, my hair is not did, I have like my pajamas on and shit. Like, I'm not out to impress anyone. I know a couple of technical wizards, but I mean, it's the holidays. I don't want to bug people when the holidays are happening. That's why I did this with the live thing. I think with the learned behavior thing, it has to be like a two-way thing. Women have to learn to verbally and maybe otherwise kick people in the nuts if they don't get the hint. And also, men need to learn to take no for an answer and just be respectful of that no. You know, I've lost track of how many lesbians who have no interest in the D, okay, still have men try to hook up with them. And like the one lady that I knew, she had been in a relationship for like 2 or 3 decades, decades with her wife. And this guy just kept on, kept trying to hook up with her. I'm like, dude, I mean, I think by now she knows if she's into the D or not, if you have a chance or not, and you don't. Like, but he just kept on going and kept pursuing. But he was not a stalker. So there's a difference in pursuing someone, you know, to try to get into a relationship with them and being a stalker. It can be kind of a fine line, but there's a difference. I don't even know what that means. Bug away theory. Okay. Oh, okay. I think I got it. I mean, it should be. It should be, you know, but for a lot of women, when we say no, men just act like, oh, well, that just means try harder. But no, that's not what that means. You know, when I look at someone and say, I'm married, that doesn't mean that your response should be, yeah, but he's not me. Because then my response is, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm to the point of having minimal patience with men who do not understand how to take no for an answer. And you know, behave as if they were taught manners at some point in their lives. Rom-coms teach those habits. They teach guys it's okay. They teach women it's cute. And most women don't find it cute. I'll tell you that right now. Most women do not find it cute. What I'm talking about, a guy who yells at you to smile and hits on you and all that shit, most women don't find that cute. Um, a lot of women find that really fucking irritating, actually. I mean, there are huge thousands members, Facebook groups of women who just vent about not being able to walk down the street or go to the grocery store or just live, you know, without having random dudes being rude whenever they feel like it. And it can, so one woman moving through her day can have this happen by multiple men, you know, from multiple men, just randomly, whenever. And it's like, look, I wasn't put on on this earth to give up my valuable resource of time that I can never get back, and just what, give that time up to some random dude I don't know. Now, if somebody's hurt, I'll help them, but you know, I can't even go to a grocery store by myself anymore. Uh, or at least I'm very careful when I do, because I had a run in at a grocery store where a dude followed me through the whole friggin' grocery store. It was so bad that the security and the lady at the register and the manager were following this guy who followed me out to my car, by the way. Fun times. After I told him I'm not interested, after I told him leave me alone, after I actually started to verbally abuse him, he still pursued. Anyway, the anomaly is the charming, pretty guy who spends most of his life getting away with things, and it teaches them that it's okay. Rewarded bad behavior gets repeated. Um, I mean, I've had extremely good looking men try that shit with me. It doesn't, and for a lot of women, um, in conversations amongst ourselves, you know, it'd be the question of, oh, was he attractive? Yeah, he was really hot, but he was an asshole. So being an asshole can be a turnoff. Just saying, you might be really attractive, but your personality can speak volumes, right? So if you try that stuff with 10, 20 women, you might have one woman who falls for it. But a lot of us are not falling for it, and many of us are getting more and more angry about men's behavior. I mean, some of these groups, I'm hearing women talking about, you know, well, one friend of mine just got a stun gun. So you're saying that all women are just attracted to assholes? Is that what you're saying? I'm not understanding what you're saying. I agree, but man, I wish being an asshole was less attractive to more women. You're kind of lumping all women together in one group and saying that we're all just attracted to assholes. You gotta understand that most of the time, these guys put a mask over the reality of themselves. And that mask is very charming and sweet and nice. And it's a deception, it's a manipulation, and it's done purposefully. So, I mean, I see more assholes were found attractive than good guys. Not super obvious, but slightly. But that's what I'm saying. Yes, you might have seen that they were assholes, but they weren't targeting you. What do you mean a taste of things to come? Like what you saw with that person is was not what was shown to the woman who was targeted. Is what I'm saying, right? So a lot of the time, guys who are assholes, who are attractive and also abusive, right? Right, but you don't know the full dynamics that are going on, for one thing. For another thing, a lot of these, with NRE, what do you mean NRE? I mean, right. I mean, yes, there's the whole um, honeymoon period and all that, whatever. But usually that mask, an abusive person can't keep that mask up for too long, right? So they have kind of a methodology around targeting and getting someone involved into a new relationship. They more than likely know they're abusive on some level, so they'll hide that. They'll wear that mask. And then once they get the hooks into that their target, their victim, they'll do whatever they can to make sure that that person can't get away. And then that their victim has an emotional tie to them, and it's even harder to get away. It's harder to walk away. It's harder, and they usually also will target people who are empathic, kind, loving, sympathetic, caring people. They do that for a reason because, and it just makes it easier for the abuser to victimize their target. And it's almost a science, it seems like, to these people. Like, well, yeah, I think we should have classes that go into healthy versus unhealthy relationships, and um, also being on the internet and what is healthy versus unhealthy treatment on the internet. And we should teach girls that they can say no and it should be respected. And we should teach boys to respect a woman's no, and treat women with respect. You know, that whole boys will be boys and boys only hit you if they like you. Fuck all that shit. That's part of the problem right there. Yeah, being targeted does suck. It does. I've been there. Um, and I can't watch. I have no interest in a rom com. I watch that stuff and I'm like, oh, ew, that's like stalkerish behavior right there. What the hell? The woman's a lesbian, but he's suddenly gonna turn her into a straight girl. What the fuck? when did things like when did that start being a thing? Like, that's just fucking ridiculous. Might as well. Metaphorically, they're slapping every lesbian woman out there in the face and making her that fantasy girl that his dick will be somehow some magical tool that will turn her straight. What the? That is some bullshit right there. So, yeah, I don't know. That's why I'd rather stick to sci-fi. The Expanse. That is some good TV right there. But okay, I think I'm going to. I'm a guy. I'm not being. Oh, what about us? I mean, I get it, but uh, statistically speaking, typically, if a man is in an abusive relationship, yes, it sucks and it's horrible and it's not right. But more than likely, he's not going to have to be buried by his family because his abuser killed him and his children, and possibly his mom, and maybe his sister, and who knows. I'm talking about trying to help people understand that a woman shouldn't have to possibly face death because she was in a relationship with someone. True, he has far more likely a chance to get out. Yeah, yeah. And if a woman gets out for that first year to 5 years afterward, is when her life is most at risk, and also her children, and possibly even her family members and friends. I I can sit here and all day long rattle off case after case after case of men who have killed their wives, girlfriends, significant others. But I can think of 3 or 4 women. I'm just saying that a woman who is in an abusive relationship is more likely to be killed than a man who is in an abusive relationship. So I'm tired. I'm done hearing, but us men too. I get that. I understand that. But there's an aspect of possible death attached to it for women. Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, I've lost several girlfriends to domestic violence. Good friends that I, grew up with to domestic violence. So, I'm saying that we need to start talking about this for real. And men need to just sit down and shut the fuck up and listen and understand that we're not trying to exclude you, we're trying to live. There's a difference. Okay, I want to be able to go to the store, the grocery store, without having to worry about a dude attacking me in the parking lot. I want to be able to walk outside my house to go on a walk with my daughter and not have to wonder, is some guy going to attack me? And then there's my little one. These are things I have to think about. They're things that every woman has to think about. The girlfriend who got the stun gun, she got the stun gun because she was accosted on the street in front of a bunch of people by some random dude. And then not long after, it happened again. A different dude. I'm just saying that, and men also might want to think and consider the fact that women are getting mad. And when women get mad, one other thing that schools don't teach children about is the things that women have done throughout history when men misbehave and women have to put them in place. I may have to start doing like a history show or something about, like Boudica. I mean, there are so many cases where, or situations where women just, they were like, screw it, you men have fucked up for the last time. And then shit gets real. When women get angry to that point, I'm just saying, y'all might want to start listening and stop being abusive. I mean, and it doesn't have to be, abuse does not have to be physical, it can also be verbal and emotional. So, And it's the same with stalking also. Stalking doesn't have to be just physical, it can also be verbal and emotional, right? So, but abuse is abuse, damage is damage. And um, so, yeah. And I'm like hooked on this stuff, like some sort of drug or something. I wonder if they put something in this. Okay. Anyway, there are 3 people on here. That's kind of cool for being my first live. So if you have not liked and subscribed and all of that, please do. I would appreciate it. Um, every like and subscribe and all of that, and like commenting and everything, like makes the algorithm go up, and then therefore more people might see the video, especially if they have a stalker that they're dealing with. So that's the whole goal, is to get this out there to people who need it, who need the advice on what to do. So I appreciate every single person who does a like, uh, who subscribes, who comments. The comments are really helpful too. I actually have a couple dislikes on it, and I'm like, good, go ahead, dislike. Because even if you dislike it, it's still helping with the algorithm. So good. I'm fine with that. So everyone who does all the things is actually really helping out, and I appreciate it. All right. I think I'm going to end this. It's been over an hour. Wow. Okay. I may do more lives because I don't know how else I'm going to record videos, but I will be working on getting the video situation fixed. We will have more coming out. And I have a few coming up that I have just done an ungodly amount of research on that are, whoa, it's a lot. It is intense. There are a couple guys out there who need to be in prison, like for life. I don't even understand how they're not in prison. I'm kind of stunned with the one dude. He should have been in prison a while ago, but he was let go by a cop because he was a nice guy. Jesus. The glass has crack in it. I hope not. Jesus. Although it might. I don't know. It's pretty shiny. Let's see. I don't know if that's even going to show up. Hold on. Yes, I don't think it's going to show up. But it's pretty glittery. It could be crack. I don't know. I've never actually seen crack, I don't think. Okay. All right, y'all. I'm going to jump off here. Be safe out there. No means no. You have the right to say no. Cracky gloss. That's what I'm going to just call this from now on. The cracky gloss. There you go. Make t-shirts. All right. I'm gonna go turn the roast over in the pot roast that is cooking right now, because by the way, my house smells so good, and I have to wait to eat it. Damn it. All right. If you have any questions about dealing with a stalker, email, comment, let me know somehow, and I will help you. I won't charge you, but I will ask you to go to therapy. That will be all I charge you. All right, bye, y'all. If I can figure out how to end this stream.